We've been parked at this campground for almost 2 weeks, and we have gotten a lot of questions about our converted tour bus. So we thought we would take the time to answer our most frequently asked questions about our converted tour bus.
If we haven't met before, I'm Alex.
I'm Len.
This is Trip of Our Life. We're a family of 4. We travel as much as we possibly can in our converted Prevost motorhome. And this channel is all about traveling, what that's like, building crazy projects, and just sharing a little bit about what we do.
But we don't full-time. We're not full-timers. We just travel as much as we possibly can. So it's mostly just doing typical life away from home as often as we can.
We like to say, it's not a vacation, it's
a trip.
a trip. First question, did we convert it ourselves?
Yes, we did. Mostly him. Some design from me, a lot of design from me, but
Yes,
we converted it ourselves.
We bought it as a fully seated passenger bus, or 56 seats in a gross bathroom. We ripped all that down, all the way down to the bare metal on the inside, and we
built it back up.
Started from scratch. Yeah, we added a bathroom, we added a shower, we added beds, we added the kitchen, all the plumbing, all the electrical, everything.
If you want to see more about that process, we do have a video about it. You can see it here. The second most frequently asked question we get is, if you don't mind, in quotes, literally this is what everybody says, if you don't mind, can I ask how much was this? And the first answer is no, we don't mind. We welcome all the money questions. But we bought this bus for $17,000 on Facebook Marketplace.
Yep, we bought it from a private seller who planned to convert it, but didn't get around to it. So we took it off his hands for him. And then as the bus sits now, we have a total, including the purchase price of the bus, a total of about $45,000 in it. By the time we took our first trip, it was right at about the $40,000 mark, but since then we've added solar and several other upgrades. So that's kind of the rough answer, is roughly $45,000 as it sits now going down the road.
Yep. So do you need a special license to drive this thing?
Amazingly, in the state of Ohio, no. Some states, I think it's California, Texas, maybe New York, I'm not sure. You'd have to do your own research on that, but there's a handful of states where you do need a special license to drive an RV over a certain weight limit. But in Ohio, since this is now legally registered and titled as a recreational vehicle, no special license required to drive it. It's a little crazy.
It's crazy. But that's true for all campers of all sizes. As long as it's an RV,
yep,
recreational vehicle.
Little twist though, if you're using in Ohio at least, if you're using your recreational vehicle for commerce, for business of any kind, then you do need a commercial driver's license because you're making money by driving it. So it's kind of a trick question, but generally speaking, no.
Is it hard to drive?
It is harder to drive than our previous rigs. So we started off with a bumper pull, and then we had a 34 or 36 foot diesel pusher many years ago, and then we had a truck and 40-foot fifth wheel. I would say that this is the hardest to drive out of all of them, but I say that's like just around town. On the freeway, this is awesome. The wind doesn't push it around, other trucks passing you doesn't push you around. We can just set the cruise at 70, 75, whatever we want, and it just sails down the freeway.
Yeah.
But around town, especially towing a trailer, we're like pushing 70 feet long, and so around town in small neighborhoods, it can be nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Which brings us to another question, not that we get necessarily here, but definitely from people when we're talking about it, or friends or family. Do you tow a vehicle? Which you just answered, but do we tow a vehicle?
We do tow a vehicle. We tow both a sedan on a tow dolly, which is one way of towing a vehicle, and then we also tow a Tesla on a flatbed trailer, all the wheels off the ground. And this is my least favorite way to tow, but it's kind of a necessity for the car that we have right now. Previously, we have flat towed a Jeep, and that's the way to do it.
That is, if you can flat tow. Do that.
Speaking of the trailer though, when we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to turn our flatbed car hauler trailer into a solar oasis
I don't know if
trailer.
we are going to do it.
I'm going to.
She's going to do it.
We're going to do a big build series. I want to build a structure that goes up over where the car goes. It'll be filled with solar panels on the roof and on the sides, and the sides will tip up to angle towards the sun, whichever way is necessary. Obviously, not while we're driving, but when we're set up, we're going to have way more power than we know what to do with, so that'll allow us to explore some other pretty cool projects. So
maybe power other people's campers who are traveling with us, friends or family, things like that. So it could be cool. But
another idea that someone actually commented on one of our previous videos where we were talking about this is that if I do this right, we could charge our Tesla on the trailer while we're driving from the solar that's hitting the trailer.
Oh, that's smart.
And that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
So if that sounds like a project you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button down below and help us hit 10,000. And whenever that day comes, we're going to get into the build series.
Sure will.
Moving on though, does she ever drive the bus?
Do I drive it? No, I do not. I do plan to learn how to drive it, but I don't drive it. We haven't been in that situation yet. I don't want to learn on a windy road or with our kids in it or with traffic around me. And that's generally one or all three of those things are happening.
You drove it once in Kansas.
I did for about 5 minutes. So, and that was long enough for now. It's, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Get there.
There's a lot going on. And it doesn't, you know, the power steering definitely doesn't feel like a car. So there's a learning curve. I can learn it. I know I can, but I haven't done it yet. So
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Next question. Where's our bed?
Our bed is the couch. This isn't a question we get online a lot, but this is a question that we get in campgrounds like here a lot, especially when people walk inside and take a tour and take a look around. They're always like, where's your bedroom? We forewent a traditional master bedroom. We don't need one. We do need a bed. So our bed is a pull-out couch. It's a little bit different than a typical pull-out couch. If you want to know more information about the couch and why we built it that way and why we didn't choose to have a master bedroom, check out this video. But that's the quick answer is our bed is in the couch. Another question we get asked a lot is whether or not we have trouble with campgrounds letting us come stay. The reason for this is because a lot of campgrounds do have a 10-year rule that your rig cannot be more than 10 years old, especially at luxury campgrounds like the one we're staying at right now, where there's a lot of amenities, a lot of spaces, things like that. The short answer to this question is no. We don't have problems with that. When we run into that question or that rule, we will email the campground and ask if we can send them a picture of our rig and ask if we would be permitted. And so far, that has been a very easy and resounding no problem. Come on and stay with us. It does seem like the 10-year rule does really tend to prevent school bus conversions, which I think is unfortunate. I think there's a lot of really cool school bus conversions out there. But for whatever reason, campgrounds are a little prejudiced towards them. Not all campgrounds, some are. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're considering doing a conversion. There may be some campgrounds that you will not be able to get into with the school bus conversion bus. But so we don't have an issue with this. We have been accepted into any campground that we have wanted to go to so far. If that changes, then I'm sure we'll make a video about it.
How many miles per gallon does our bus get? Short answer, 7. It really doesn't change all that much. Granted, 95% of our driving is on the freeway. Like, we get on the freeway from where we are as soon as possible, and we take the freeway all the way to our destination as much as possible, and then go straight to the campground. We're not really, taking it to and from work or driving it around town just for fun. So that is pretty much a freeway 7 miles per gallon. But that's pretty much what it is. And on the one hand, that sounds horrible. But on the other hand, I've owned a lot of pickup trucks that only get like 10, 11, 12, 13-ish. And considering our rig weighs about 50,000 pounds, including our trailer, I think 7's pretty okay.
Okay, so how old is our bus, and isn't it worn out? It looks pretty old.
Our bus is a 1997, so it is 29 years young. And at least the last time I checked, it has like 486,000 miles on it. And that might seem like a lot, but actually for these over-the-road coaches, they're made for about 3 million miles of service life. So we got a whole lot of life left in this thing. Most of the time, the engine doesn't even really need any major work until about 1 million miles. So we got about 500,000 miles before we even really need to do too much thinking about major problems like that.
Frequently, people will remark on how good the bus looks, but do we plan to paint it? I think we do plan to paint it. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know how we're going to do it. We don't know when we're going to do it or where we're going to do it. This could happen in Mexico. This could happen in our yard. We're not sure what we're going to do with it yet, but we probably will paint it just to freshen it up when it's time to do that, when it feels like we can afford to do that. Again, just all depending on what we end up deciding to do with it, but that is coming in the nearish future, near to mid future. Don't get too excited, Alex. I saw your face. Not really soon, but maybe kind of soon.
That was very specific.
It's non-committal is what I like to call it. Oh, you look cool. Do you want a snack? Probably the biggest question we get asked is why? Why did we build this bus? Why did we buy it? Why did we do this? It's a huge process. It's a huge undertaking. For a lot of people, it ends up taking over a year to customize a bus. Like, why would we do that instead of just buying a motorhome? We have had a few different campers. This is our 4th rig. Prior to this, we had a truck with a 5th wheel, a big 5th wheel that we really loved. And really for us, what it came down to was that we wanted to take our family in a very comfortable way to farther away destinations. Packing everybody into a truck and then driving 4 days across the country is worse than exhausting. It's too hard with young kids, especially if kids are in diapers, if they're nursing, anything like that, which are all stages of life that we've been in the last year. So we really just wanted to go farther away. We had done everything that was within 6, 8, 10 hours of our home that was super interesting to us. So that was the biggest reason. The second reason is cost. It was cheaper for us to buy this all in. Now we own it. It's not depreciating. If anything, it is appreciating. Whereas our truck we had a payment on, our 5th wheel we had a payment on. Together, total capital was near $100,000. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to invest. So this was actually the cheaper option, just a lot more work option.
Last question for today is, do we miss having slide outs? Well, on our 5th wheel, we had a really unique thing. We actually had a double slide out. So the living room slide out would go out about 3 feet, and then it had its own slide out that would go out another couple feet, which is wild. And that's super rare, but it was really fun. And so it gave us a huge living room. And now we just have a 8-foot wide tube that's 45 feet long. So it's longer, but it's not nearly as wide as our 5th wheel was, at least with the slide outs. And do we miss that? Sometimes. We miss it when...
less than I thought we would. I thought we'd really miss it, and it hasn't been that big of a deal.
We miss it a lot with, like, sometimes when we're, like when it's raining, when we're at the campground and we're cooped up inside and you're just kind of stuck in there and you want more space to just kind of spread out. But other than that, it's not so bad. And kind of a advantage that we hoped would be true, but we weren't sure, was that without slide outs, everything is the same no matter what. So there's nothing to, when you have slide outs, you have to like put everything away before you can move, right? But when you don't have any slide outs, everything's the same all the time. Whether we're at a rest area, whether we're going down the freeway, whether we're at the campground, the layout is the exact same every time. So you really get like a good spot to put everything. You get used to it, and you don't need to put your slide outs to fully utilize your floor plan. And we like that more than we thought that we would. And so, no, overall, we don't really miss the slide outs too much. Well, that's all for this one. Let us know what questions you have in the comments below, and we'll do a follow-up sometime in the future. Thanks, we'll see you next week.